Greetings, everyone. Welcome to today's topic. My name is Lungelo Tyamko, and I'm a business studies teacher. The topic for today is business strategies. What is a business strategy? A business strategy is a business's long-term plan to achieve its goals and objectives. It is also a plan of action to prepare the business to take advantage of opportunities and protect itself against threats. You must remember, everyone is in business for a purpose. Some are in business to make profits, which is money, and some are in business to solve a problem, and some are in business to give back to the community. All of those are goals which are different but specific. So a business strategy is your game plan into achieving those goals. What will you be doing and what will you not be doing to achieve those goals? I'm now going to discuss strategic management process. When you are setting up goals and when you want to devise a strategy, you need to follow a certain process, and that process is called the strategic management process. And this starts by setting smart objectives. So any goal or objective that you set must be specific. And by specific, you must know exactly what is it that you want to achieve. So if on your next test you want to achieve 90%, that is being specific. You know that you want to achieve 90%, and your goal must be measurable. How will you measure it? You will measure it when you get your results. If it's not 90, if it's 90 and above, then you would have achieved. If it's below 90, then your goal has not been achieved. So you can measure that. It must be achievable. You must look at your previous record, and you must also look at yourself, your strengths of what you can do. If you know that there's no way you're going to achieve 90%, then don't waste your time. So your goal must be achievable, and also your goal must be realistic, and it must also have a time frame. By time frame means you cannot have a goal that you do not know by when will you know if you have achieved that goal. So you need to know, I will know if I've achieved this goal maybe when the results are out by the end of the month. All right. So you first have to identify your goal, and you must be clear with your goal. The second, then you need to scan the environment. So you scan by environment by applying the SWOT analysis. So by identifying your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. By following Porter's 5 forces model, then this is going to now tell you what is your position in the market, and this will be looking at your suppliers, at your competitors, and so on. And then you're going to use the PESTLE analysis to scan the environment. And then when you understand the environment, then you must also now come up with strategies to respond to threats and challenges, because when you were scanning the environment, you would have identified some threats and you would have identified some challenges which will form part of your weaknesses. So you need to come with strategies to respond to these things before you can do anything else. And then what you need to do is you need to develop an action plan, and an action plan includes what needs to be done by whom. So those are the tasks, and you need by when. You need to understand what are the deadlines, and also you need to understand the resources that are required. Because if you want to increase production, then you're going to need more workers, which is employees, and you might need more equipment. So you need to understand those resources that are required. And then once all of that is done, then you implement the selected strategy by clearly communicating it to everyone that is involved. So the whole team must be on the same page when it comes to the strategy, and everyone must be motivated to play their part. And then while that is in progress, you need to monitor and measure the effectiveness of the strategy. So you need to see, are we getting where we want to go? Is there any differences being made? And then if there's anything that is not going according to the plan, then you must take corrective action. So you must fix it so that you remain in place with the strategy. And then when you're scanning the environment, as I've said, you have different tools that are in place to scan the environment. The tool that I'm going to discuss now is called Porter's 5 forces model. This tool is used specifically to identify the business's position in the market. So as a business, you want to understand the power of your suppliers. For instance, if you are a furniture manufacturer and you're specializing on your tables, and you only have one supplier that supplies you with raw material, which is wood for you to manufacture, then that supplier has more power than you in this market, and they even have power over you, because if tomorrow they decide to increase their prices, you have no choice. You must also increase your prices. If they deliver late, you can't really do anything because they are your only supplier. So you need to look at that. How many suppliers do I have? If this one disappoints, can I go anywhere else? So that is the things that you need to know as a business. You also want to know the power of your buyers, of your customers. If you have a few customers that are buying majority of your goods or service, then those customers have power over you, because if they come tomorrow and say, look, we want to negotiate pricing, then you are forced to comply. You are forced to meet them, to comply with them, because they make your business, they are your business. If they pull out or they change, then your business will suffer. And then you must also look at the power of your competitors. How many competitors do you have in the same market, and what are they doing differently? Because anything your competitors will do will affect you. And also, competition or the market is like market share is like a pie. So the more people that are eating on that pie, the less that you get. So you need to identify who's who in the zoo, and you need to identify their strengths and weaknesses so that you can respond appropriately. And then you also need to identify and to understand the threats of substitutes. What is a substitute? A substitute is a different product that meets the same need as your product. It's different, but it's still doing the same. So for instance, watches. Watches were very popular back then. Some people still wear them now, but it's not really a need because cell phones came in. As much as cell phones came in and were not intended to substitute watches, but they did, because you can still get your time on your cell phones, and that is what most people are doing. So as much as cell phone came in as a communication tool, but it also came in as a substitute for watches. So as a business, you need to understand how easy your product or service can be substituted. And also you need to be on the lookout and understand how easy it is for new entrants to enter into the market. Because if new people can come in very easily into the market and sell the same things, or substitute that you are selling, then you are in trouble. So you don't really have much power in that market. And the tip here is, when you are doing this and applying this, they will not really ask you to make recommendations. What they want is for you to focus on identifying the position of that business. And then we move on to the second tool, which is called PESTLE analysis. PESTLE stands for political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. So when you are reading a case study, or you are reading whatever it is that you are reading, you need to identify what is being said about the political landscape, or what is the challenge that is coming from politics. So those challenges could be government policies, it could be trade agreements, it could be NGO. Just to give you an example, trade agreements. We know what is happening with the Ukraine and Russian and Russian and Ukraine and Russian war. So whatever trade agreement was there, it's now no longer there. So Russia is not buying American goods, and America is not buying Russian goods. So if you are a business in America, government does not allow you now to trade with Russia. That is a trade agreement. So you must just look at what is government saying, what are NGOs saying. NGOs are usually customer organizations, and you must look at trade agreements. Then you must also look at economic. Economic will talk about interest rates, will talk about foreign exchange. Maybe the rand has become very weak to the dollar. And if that is the case, and you export most of your goods from maybe America, and now the rand is becoming very weak, then you must understand your business is going to suffer. So you need to look at those things of what is happening in the economy, which is, you look at inflation, interest rates, and foreign exchange. Then you look at social. Social looks at, if you are working in a particular community, and most of your staff members don't speak that native language of that community, then you're going to have communication barriers and language barriers. And also you must look at the economic condition of buyers. So an example of economic condition of buyers, and look at Shoprite. Shoprite that is selling maybe in poor communities. What they've done is they came up with economy foods. So they come with bread for 5 rand, and there's an advert where they selling sanitary pads, 8 of them for 5 rand. So all of those things, it is actually looking at the social economic or social economy of the people in that particular market. And then we look at technology. When we talk about technology, we look at what is new in the market, and also businesses need to identify if can their employees are their employees able to keep up with the new technology that is in the market. And also you must look at legal. Legal refers to acts, legal operation requirements or certification. So anything that talks about X, anything that talks about people must go and register or get a certificate, anything that is more in the legal space, then you look at that. And then you also look at the environment, which falls under the environmental. So this is mainly about sustainable operations. We look at friendly chemicals that are not going to be danger to the environment or people. We look at pollution, and then we look at things like substituting plastic for other means of packaging, and more of those things. And the tip here is when you're doing using applying PESTLE, is you must name the PESTLE factor. So you must read your scenario and say, okay, this is legal because it's talking about operational certificates. And then what you're going to do is you must recommend ways to address the challenge. So that is how you're going to apply the PESTLE one. And then let's move on, going to SWOT analysis. My favorite SWOT analysis is basically standing for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What is a strength? Strength or strengths are activities that are linked to the business or may benefit the business. The business has control over its strengths. So that is the most important thing. You must understand that a strength is something that we have or something that is linked to us as a business and that we can actually control. So if having staff, if I have my staff is all degree holders, they're all educated, and we're working in a very competitive environment, then my employees being educated is a strength. So anything that is linked to me and I have control over is a strength. And then weaknesses are also linked to me, all right, and as a business I have control over them, but weaknesses may put me at a disadvantage. So if I have a team that is constantly fighting, or I have people that are constantly resigning left, right, and center, that is a weakness because I can control it, but it is putting me at a disadvantage. And then we look at opportunities. Opportunities are not linked to the business, it's things that are happening outside the business that we have no control over, but it can put us or at an advantage, or it can benefit us as a business. So whatever is happening outside, so for instance, if I'm working if I have a restaurant that is selling plant-based foods, right? So the thing that is happening outside the market is that most people are starting to become health conscious. So for me, that is an opportunity. I'm not forcing those people or controlling those people to become health conscious out there. It's just what is happening, but I can take advantage of that because, and that is why that is an opportunity for me. And then threats. Threats are happening outside the business and I have no control over them, and they can put me at a disadvantage. So if my place specializes with fast foods and I still have people that are becoming health conscious, then that is a threat for me. I need to address that. I need to come up with strategies to defend myself against that threat because my business is going to feel that. And then we now going to be doing an activity. The activity is meant for in class, so you can ignore the rules here. And what you can do is you can just complete the activity on your own, and you can just post back your responses on here there by comments. Okay, it is quite a little bit small for you to see. You can try and zoom in, and then you put your feedback on the comments. Okay, the next lesson is going to be on integration strategies, intensive strategies, diversification strategies, defensive strategies, and steps in evaluating strategies. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them on the comments. Thank you so much. My name is Lungelo Tyamko.